I'd like to welcome everybody who's enrolled in our elective titled Stakeholders Management and Capitalism. And I'd like to say hi to John Iwata, who's the lead faculty member on the course. And I'd also like to welcome everyone from the Global Network for Advanced Management. This is the fifth uh, edition of the Global Speaker Series. We've had Indra Nui, Paul Pullman, Fernando Oliveri, he's CEO of CEMEX, Paul Pullman, former CEO of Unilever, Indra Nui, former CEO of Pepsi, and then Francesco Staracci, former CEO of Enel, an Italian-based energy company. But it's today we're really thrilled to have Jane Sun, CEO of Trip.com, and I'll turn it over to the person who's going to introduce her to all of us.
Jane Sun is the CEO and a member of the board of directors of Trip.com Group Limited. Trip.com is the leading global travel services company in China and Asia. Ms. Sun joined the company in 2005 as Chief Financial Officer when online booking was still nascent and travel in China was just beginning to take flight. Under her leadership, Trip.com expanded internationally and has become a leader in customer experience. Customers can enjoy a one-stop shopping platform that sells anything related to travel and a 24/7 call center with calls answered within 30 seconds. The company is now effectively introducing AI, further improving the customer experience of their user interface and reducing development time for their engineers between 15 and 30%. Beyond this technology initiative, Ms. Sun sees great potential for women's leadership and has become a champion for gender equality within the company. Trip.com's workforce is now more than 50% women. Middle management is more than 40% women, and over a third of executives are women. It is with great pleasure that I introduce Jane Sun. Thank you so much for being here, and we look forward to hearing from you.
So Jane, welcome greatly. It's wonderful to have you join our class and join the Global Speaker Series. Thank you for that introduction. Is there anything you would like to add about Trip.com and its history?
Yes, when I joined the company, our company was very small. The market cap was only 500 million. Over the past 20 years, with lots of blessing, our company have grown to be a 40 billion plus company. We have been through many obstacles, many cycles, such as SARS, Asia financial crisis, global financial crisis, and most recently, COVID. So I believe there are a lot of lessons to learn. And I'm very honored today I have this opportunity to share my thoughts with all of you.
So as was mentioned, Trip.com is the largest in China and Asia. Could you give us some sense of who else supplies services, online travel services?
Sure. So in Trip.com, we have about 400 million registered users. In 2003, pre-COVID, we sold about 900 million high-speed railway tickets, about 600 million hotel rooms, and about 600 million air tickets. In terms of GNV, we sold about 200 billion USD. Our revenue is about 6 billion and bottom line is 2 billion. So quite significant growth in the past 20 years.
Wow, those numbers are staggering. So this class is about how leaders like you manage not only the shareholders, but stakeholders. And the first and obvious question is, how do you see that? Who are the most important stakeholders for Trip.com?
Our philosophy is customer first, partner second, Trip.com the third. The best example we showcase our value is during the most challenging period of COVID. If you remember, China was the first country which suffered from COVID. on Chinese New Year's Day, 2020, our border was closed to prevent the spread of virus. Yet millions of customers already paid airlines and hotels money to travel around the world during the Chinese New Year. Due to the border closure, our customer demand a refund. So our executive team members got on the phone call. Within 5 minutes, we made a decision that we need to borrow money from the banks to refund our customers, even before airlines and hotels give us our customers' money back. Why is that? Because this is a critical moment. This is a critical moment we show our value in front of our young team to let them know how we handle this kind of crisis. So cumulatively, we borrowed about 20 billion to advance the refunds to our customers. And our customers now, the business is back. Our customers really remember what we did during the difficult time. So when business comes back, all the customers come to our platform to make their reservation. The second stakeholder is partners such as hotels, airlines, rental cars, tour operators, etc. During COVID, we noticed the small and medium-sized partners were running very short of cash. So we established a 2 billion partnership natural disaster relief fund to help them with cash flow. Now, again, business recovered. All the business partners want to do business with us. The third one is Trip.com, the third. If you remember, during COVID, travel was stopped. Our revenue was zero. Yet we have 30,000 employees on our payroll. Every employee has a family behind them. So very quickly, we need to make a decision how we can sustain this COVID and make sure our mothership is stabilized and weather storm this disaster. So our chairman and I volunteered to our board that we will take zero salary until industry recover. And our VPs echoed immediately with us. They took a 50% pay cut. And our employee also supported us. They took 4 days pay, but work 5 days. Or they took 3 days pay, but work 5 days. By doing that, we preserved very precious cash, help us 3 years to weather the storm. Now, the business is back. Trip.com was able to retain the best talent in our company and gain market share, expand very rapidly in the global market. So that's how we view our shareholder. Customer first, partner second, Trip.com the third.
Well, to everybody, I think you've already figured out that Jane is an extraordinary leader. And so often we hear about values, but they don't necessarily match up to behavior. And your example of what you did during COVID, I think, is something that is so impressive. So, Jane, though, customers first. In our research and work to date, we find that a lot of companies say that their employees come first. And I'm wondering if part of that has to do with the nature of what you do. Your employees have to make thousands of decisions every day that influence whether customers are happy or not. And I'm wondering if the nature, the service nature of the business has led you to be so clear about customers first. It's clarity for everybody.
Yes. Customer first for me is very important because what's the reason for our company to be in existence? We are in existence to serve our customer. So no matter what happened, there can be procedures, there can be value proposals, but if we run into certain expect a certain situation which our employee have never expected, the only one thing they need to remember is always, always put customer the first. For example, when the storm comes, our employees knows airport will have major delays. So 7,000 employees will volunteer to stay in a call center 24 hours until all the backlog is cleared. When the plane is delayed, we immediately will push a high-speed railway tickets for our customers. We'll tell our driver to pick up our customers in the train station rather than in the airport. We'll tell our hotel partners to hold the room until our customer check in late. So everything in our employees' mind always make sure the customer is number one in their mind. In travel, there are many unexpected events might happen. For example, when the customer check in at the air ticketing counter, the name might be misspelled. But the customer needs to get on the plane. What do? You can call back in Shanghai in the call center and go through the procedures, but the plane already will take off. In that kind of situation, if the mistake is not caused by our customer, we need to get the customer on the plane. Even you need to buy a business class, first class, next flight to take care of our customer. We can settle later on. So customer first is making sure our core competence is being adhered very strongly.
So Jane, because I've visited your company twice and I've talked to you often about the priorities for the company, it seems to me this fits with your 55443
Right.
Way of telling everybody what they should focus on in a very short period of time. Could you at least explain what categories do you say you want to be best at, the 5-5?
Sure. So internally, as Ted said, we have a formula which we call the 55443. 3 is at the market level, 1 and 2 is below the market level, 4 is above the market level, but the barrier of entry is relatively low. So we need to keep on investing in these items. 5 is way ahead of the market. The barrier of entry is very high. Without using 5 to 10 years, your second player will not be able to catch up with you. So the 2 items we assign value 5 are service and branding. If you are in China, if you ask our customers, why do you use Trip.com? Everyone will tell you service and branding. How do we make sure the service is good? For example, when you call our call center, within 30 seconds, a live person will be online to help you solve the issue. If you are a business traveler, as long as your flight leaves in 1 hour, we can make the reservation, issue the ticket, get you on the plane within 1 hour. If there is some disaster took place during your trip, for example, a tsunami in Japan many years ago, or a Las Vegas shooting 10 years ago, or Israel Hamas had a conflict recently. If that happened, our team needs to reach out to our customers in that region within 2 minutes. They need to comfort our customers and move them to the safe hotel, offer hot meal, hot shower. And the very next day, if our customer want to come back to their home countries, we need to make a prioritized arrangement for them to go back to their home countries. So when customers travels with Trip.com, they have peace in mind. With that high level of the services, we build a very strong brand. The most expensive tool we sold pre-COVID cost about 200,000 USD per person per trip, 80 days around the world. And guess how long did it take us to sell these packages? 10 minutes. Good guess. Yeah, when I was in Europe, when I asked the same question, they told me 6 months, 1 year. Normally, such a big ticket will take that long, but it only took us 17 seconds to sell these packages. So, how many of you will trust a brand by giving 200,000 USD to them within 17 seconds? Very few, right? Very few. So that's why when you build a very strong service, very strong brand, people trust you. The similar product that's listed on our competitors' sites, they couldn't move anything within 1 year or 2 years. So that's why branding and service are the leading two elements we valued very high at value 5. The second bucket is value 4 is technology and products. We have 10,000 engineers. Every year, we invest a lot to make sure our technology and product are being innovated. However, once the product is released, it's very easy for the second player to come and copy your products. So you have to make strong investment to stay ahead. The last item is pricing. Pricing we value at 3 at the market. Although as the largest player, we can always offer the best price in the market, but we never brand ourselves as the lowest price leader in the market. Because if you start to do so, you will attract very price sensitive customers to your platform and you will suppress your margin. That's not the model that's healthy and sustainable. So that's why we want to make sure customer comes to us because they trust our service, trust our brand. They know we have very strong product and technology and our price is attractive. So that's the formula 55443.
So Jane, thank you. I think you've illustrated how it is you build a loyal customer base. And for those of you, taking my other class, you've heard me talk about the so-called platform pricing paradox. And if you end up with a big user base like Jane's company has, if you focus too much on price competition, you'll never win. So what I think Jane's strategy underscores is that what you want to do is have a matching between the customers who care about service and quality and not chasing the price. And this whole matching process with employees, customers, stakeholders, shareholders, I think is in part explained by work done by economists recently, which is about matching rather than markets. So for those of you who are interested in that topic, David Gale and Lloyd Shapley won the Nobel Prize. I think it was just 4 years ago, but I probably have that wrong. But there's a real matching process between stakeholders and Trip.com that I find compelling. Could you ranked employees third. Could you talk about your approach to recruiting, retaining, and developing employees?
Yes, employee is very important. So our corporate culture is that we need to have big companies focus and discipline, but we also need to have small startups, innovation and passion. So lots of small startups, if they get shareholders' money, if you are not very careful, the money burn out very quickly. So the big companies' discipline and focus is very important. But meanwhile, if you are dragged by lots of procedures, forget about what's the best for your customers and for your partner, then you lose the passion and speed as a startup company. So inside our Trip.com, we have a lot of baby tiger program. So young employees are encouraged to submit their business plan to executive team members. We give them CEO, CFO, CTO. They run it as a small startup on our platform. For example, I remember many years ago, our train BU submit their business plan, and they want to run a train business. And I'm like, train business, you make 20 cents per ticket. There is no money can be made because I'm always flying. I don't know that market very well. But our young employees insist, Jane, I want to try it out. So I asked them, how much money are you talking about for your investment? And they said, I need 6 people, 2 million RMB, which is about 300,000 USD. And I asked them, how do I evaluate whether you're successful or not? And he says, you give me 6 months. If by the end of the 6 months, if my daily transaction exceed 10,000 per day, you let me keep it. Otherwise, you shut me down. So on the spot, I told him, deal. You have 2 million, 6 people, 6 months. Show me the number. Mm-hmm. It only took them 1 month for the daily transaction to exceed 10,000 per day. And last year, they delivered 900 million high-speed railway tickets to our portfolio and become the largest BU in terms of transaction volume and still going very rapidly. So we want to make sure we provide a very good career path for our young employees. That young person now becomes International Train BU CEO. When we made him the CEO, he was only 26 years old. So that kind of successful story enabled us to attract very good talents into our portfolio. And also, we built the career path, help our employees to build our career path. I'm an example. When I joined the company, I was the first female CFO in the China market. But we were growing very fast. Our market cap at that time, it was only 500 million. Very quickly, we work hard to let our investors know what we are doing for the travel industry. So gradually, our board asked me to become the COO of the company. And as the COO of the company, not only you need to take care of high-end customers, such as your Wall Street investors, your legal department, which is very highly educated, finance team, which is very highly educated. At that time, Trip.com, we didn't have credit card. We have 2,000 delivery team riding bicycles to deliver paper tickets to each of our customers, and they will collect money from our customers. So that takes a lot of discipline to make sure our delivery team are very well disciplined. And then after a couple of years, the GDP per capita is increasing. So I realized people are going to go abroad, but we didn't have international inventory. So I led our team to negotiate deal in the global markets. So the board asked me to take on the responsibility as the president. And another 5 years, we consolidated the market. So our chairman wanted me to take on the CEO's position. So in the past 20 years, I'm very blessed for the opportunity to take on more and more responsibility. And I want to make sure we pave the way for our young people so that they get very good career paths as well. Particularly for the women employees, because I'm the only female CEO in a major internet company. I feel tremendous responsibility to pave a good career path for our young, talented female employees. So we adopted lots of good policies to support them. For example, when female employees are pregnant, we offer free taxi to bring them to work and take them home. When our employees give birth to the babies, we give them 1,000 per year consecutively for 5 years. We commit 1 billion for these initiatives to help China to increase the birth rate. And I also noticed for our very highly talented women employees who got their master's degrees and PhDs. By the time they get their PhD, they're already at the age of 27 or 28 years old. And their doctor will tell them by 35, if you get pregnant after 35, the pregnancy is high risk. So we're only giving our woman employee 7 to 8 years to build a career, build a family, and have children. So compared to our male employees have much longer career paths. So we were thinking how we can better support these highly talented women employees. And we come up with a policy that if our woman employee would like to use high technology to have their eggs frozen, we'll pay for it. And we are the first company in the high technology industry which have this progressive policy. And as a result, our women employees really welcome this policy. So more than 50% of our workforce are women. More than 40% of the middle managers are women. And more than 1/3 of our executives are women. And I still think we can do more in the future for our employees.
Thank you, Jane. It's inspirational. I've seen it firsthand. It's quite amazing. The other thing I would note, and in the interest of time, I'll just note it. I think one of the things that Jane has done is with the large employee base, you've figured out a way to make it entrepreneurial. And that example of the train initiative is perfect. But I learned when I visited, I learned that, basically there's competition. When you open up trip.com, there's competition for that space and where you are in the screen hierarchy. So it's a really fascinating effort to make it, I think, interesting and challenging for employees. So I need to ask you, though, about partners. Could you also explain your approach to partners?
Yes. So with global partners, we wanted to make sure 1 + 1 = 5. So I talked to our partners. The strength for our partners is that they know what they have in each region, in each country. The strength for Trip.com is that we know our customers very well. Are they business partners? Do they take business class, first class plane tickets? Do they have families? How many trips they make every year with us? So if we can provide value on both ends, letting our partners know our customers better, letting our customers know our partners' property better, then we add value to match them up. And there are so many products. It's impossible for our customers just to look for the right products without certain guidance. So we use AI, try to tailor-make the products for our customers. For example, if we use our tailor-made product, if the customer is taking a business class or first class from Shanghai to New York, we immediately will push a 5-star hotel, such as Mandarin Oriental, Peninsula Hotel, to them. And when the customer selected the hotel, then we will calculate the distance between JFK to Peninsula. And then we will recommend a limousine services to our customers. After the customer check-in, we'll say, by the way, Mandarin Oriental or Peninsula have these Michelin restaurants. Would you like to try it? Oh, Four Seasons have a wonderful spa services. Would you like to try it? Or Broadway, we have wonderful shows. We have already negotiated a very good deal for you. Would you like to try it? So with Trip.com, you don't need to think about anything. Based on your spending power, your hobby, we can use AI to recommend the product that is suitable for your spending and interest for you. That way, consumers will be able to find the right product for him or her. And our partners also are able to match their product with the right consumers.
So really interesting point that you've made. Let me just offer one comment, class. When you have repetition, it allows you to think about how to improve the service and strengthen the relationship and invest in what sometimes are referred to as specific assets. So let me give a specific example. Suppose Trip.com has figured out that there are certain hotels in Rome so that when their customers like to visit, they can ask more of that hotel. And if, for example, a lot of the customers are Chinese, they could ask the hotel to provide services that would match to their customers. So repetition creates these opportunities, and I think the same would be true in terms of the customers, as Jane mentioned. The repetition, you get to know the customers. AI is allowing you to tailor the services more effectively. It's fascinating. All right, I think I'm going to end pretty soon. I see there's some questions populating the chat. Our plan is to first take questions from the classroom and then take classroom questions from the global students. But maybe you could end on the following. How does Trip.com approach globalization? And what are the implications for stakeholders?
Yeah, so we started in China and we expand quite rapidly in Asia, in Middle East, and forward. There are 4 segments we have penetrated into. The first one is Chinese people travel within China. That accounts for about 60 to 65% of the total revenue. The second piece is taking Chinese people travel abroad. That's growing at about 20 to 30% year over year. The third piece is foreign to foreign, which is taking people, for example, from Singapore to Dubai, Dubai to UK, UK to New York, New York to Tokyo. That's growing very fast, more than 50% year over year. And the last piece has great potential, which is to invite students or friends like you from the rest of the world into China. That's also growing very fast. If you look at the global markets, Thailand does the best job. 13% of their GDP is from inbound travel. France, Italy, Spain, 5% of their GDP is from inbound travel. For USA, 5% of their GDP, 2% is from inbound travel. For China, pre-COVID, only 0.3% of the GDP is coming from inbound travel. So there is a great potential we can tap into. We're working very hard to make sure many more countries are provided with free visa so you can come and go very easily. So hopefully many of you will be able to come and visit us, and I'd love to host you in Shanghai.
Thank you, Jane.
Thank you.
So we're in the presence of a wonderful CEO, and I wanted to open it up for questions. As I mentioned, we'll start with questions from students who are enrolled in the seminar that's led by John. The only suggestions I have are please state your name. I think Jane would like to know who you are. And don't ask multiple questions. Just get one good question.
Hi, Jane. This is Kyle.
Hi, Cal.
Hey, nice to meet you, and thank you for your time. So I have a question because I see there are some fairly large competitors on the NYSE or NASDAQ, such as Expedia or Booking.com, who are the direct competitors with Trip.com. So how is your shareholder capitalism strategy differentiated from your competitors? And what makes Trip.com standing in front of the customers when competing with your competitors? Thank you.
Sure. Very good questions. We have four distinguished advantages we have. The first one is we offer one-stop shopping platform. Not only we have flights, we have hotel, we have train, attractions, tour packages, ski trip, diving trip, global shopping, etc. Anything you need during your travel, Trip.com has it all. Nobody else in the market can compete with us. The second thing is customer service level. As we said, many companies, when you call their call center, when you're at the airport in an emergency, want somebody to help them, the support is not there. Trip.com, we make sure customer, when they need to reach us, within 30 seconds, a live person will get on the line to support you, to help you sort through the issues. The third advantage we have is the app usage. In China, 97% of the incoming standard call is on app. Globally, we have more than 60-70% of the transactions being done on the app. So app usage is very slick, very smooth for us. The design also is much better than the other players. Lastly, we have 1.4 billion travelers behind us from China. It's very scalable. And I was with the executives of the Dubai airport, and they told me Trip.com's customers' buying power is 3 times as high as the average buyers. So as long as Trip.com brings customers to their airport, they win. So they are willing to give us all kinds of incentives to attract Trip.com customers to these airports, airlines. And if you ask the hotels, if there is one room left, they will always prefer to give it to Trip.com because our customers' buying power when they arrive at the hotel is much stronger than the other platform. So these are the 4 advantages we have. We are also learning a lot from other players in the market to strengthen our platform, make it better and better for our customers.
Note the role of matching again. It's a very different distinctive customer base. Okay, next question.
Thank you.
Jane, can you hear me?
Yeah.
This is Mohammed. Thank you for your time and this impressive discussion. My question is that in this customer first, partner second, and Trip.com third framework, how do you handle situations where shareholder interest conflict, particularly in high stakes or high pressure scenarios?
So Trip.com, the third, includes employee and also related shareholders. If our customers are very happy, if our partners are happy, and our employees are very well motivated, the end user shareholder will win. But if you try to squeeze money from shareholder, from partner, if they're not happy, eventually our shareholder will lose. So every time we meet with our shareholder, I always tell them, we want to deliver strong results for you, but that results needs to be healthy and sustainable. It needs to be look at what we want to be, where we want to be in 5 to 10 years, rather than what's the margin for next quarter. Right? And I told them right now our margin for last quarter is about 20 to 30%. It's healthy and sustainable. In theory, we can do 40% margin or 50% margin. If you cut the global expansion, margin will be higher, but you have no growth engine for the next 5 years, which would be the wrong thing for our shareholders. And most of our shareholders understand, they support us. So you just need to make sure customer first, partner second, our Trip.com the third. The winner at the end is our shareholder.
Great. Next question.
Right. Thank you for sharing. I'm Lucas. I'm a second year MBA and PhD student at SOM. I want to start by saying, we had a little China track planned every summer, visiting different companies in China. So this year we got to Meituan, Xiaomi, Bilibili, and others. So we definitely look forward to have an opportunity to visit you in trips.com headquarters next summer. Now, my question is, given the rise of large language models and AIs, how do you see that could be applied to the travel industry and tourism in general?
Yeah, thank you. We invest heavily in AI. Almost every BU put lots of emphasis in AI. There are 4 usages for our AI. The first one is the user interface. For example, in the old days, mainly we use search as to find the relevant product. We need to tell the system, I need a 5-star hotel with 2 kids, pet-friendly with a swimming pool. And the system will search and then present to you 10 items that satisfy your needs. Now with AI and voice recognition, you can easily have a conversation with our app. You can tell them what you're looking for, and the system automatically will come up with the right product for you. The second thing is AI also enable us to use Copilot and reduce the coding time for our engineers by 15 to 30%, which is a huge uplift for our productivity. The third one is customer service level will be much strengthened because use our big data and also AI will be able to provide much better services to our customers. And lastly is the content generation. If you use individual people to generate content, it might take a couple of days. But using AI, ChatGPT, it's very easy for us to generate a video or a picture, which is really very well liked by our customers. So AI is going to uplift our productivity and make sure our consumers have a much easier user interface to find the right product and service from our team.
I'll just note that the network of people who are affiliated with and invested in Trip.com includes some of the top thinkers on AI and how to apply LLM and other AI tools. So I think that's a great question, and we'll see how it all plays out. All right, next question.
Thank you so much for the time, Christian Tames. You talked a lot about the priorities, customers, partners, and then Trip.com, and how in moments where these priorities were displayed. But I was wondering, since you joined the company very early on, if you can give us some perspective into conversations or stories of how this priority came to be and how the ranking kind of came to be.
Yes. I think the philosophy is always the same, but the stage and the format is different. So when I first joined our company, almost 100% of the transaction is on call center. So at that time, China didn't have any credit card. So we have to employ 2,000 employees because the customer needs to make the reservation. A lot of companies just open roadside retail store, but it's less efficient. We were the first company which opened up a call center in Shanghai, employ 10,000 employees to reach out to the whole country. But meanwhile, customer has a pain point, which is you're in Shanghai. I want to issue the ticket, but you're so far away, how we can do it? So starting from Shanghai, we hired a team for more than 2,000 employees, ride bicycles, bring the tickets. When the team take the cash from the customers from their home, then we'll give the tickets to the consumers. And from Shanghai, we moved to Beijing, Guangzhou, Shenzhen, all the other cities. So the delivery team is very high, very, very, very big. Lots of companies, at that time, our investors were in the USA, they couldn't understand why you do this, because in the USA, credit card was a very normal procedures. So we explained it to them. Again, that is what's the pain point for the customers. And then we moved to online. So we very quickly, we moved the transactions from offline to online system. And then when the paperless tickets took place, we got rid of the delivery team. The transaction is on app. But very quickly, the app comes to play. We realize in the next 5 years, all the online transaction will be pushed on app. So very quickly, we have the app team deliver very strong upgrades every week to satisfy our consumer needs. So very quickly, the PC only had a very short window in between offline and app. Now 97% of the transactions is online. Again, how you prioritize your technology team's work load is very much focused on what customers like. If they are focusing on PC, you need to develop lots of PC app. But if they are focusing on mobile, then all your resources need to be on mobile. And then after a couple of years, we realize the GDP per capita is increasing. What the customers will do, they will go abroad. So very quickly, we need to work with all the embassies, consulates to make sure the visa is open up. Flight, international routes is open up. International hotel is on our platform. Rental cars is available in every country. So again, you always want to be 5 years ahead of your customer to make sure you pave the way for the customers to go within on your platform to go broad. So your vision, your investment needs to be very much tailored for customers' needs and ahead of customers' needs.
Okay, next question.
Hi, my name is Kshitij. Thank you for joining us today. My question is switching gears a bit. You talked a lot about customers, but Trip.com has an extensive amount of stakeholders, and my guess is they are more diverse than Booking, than Airbnb, because you provide a complete suite of services. You told us how you built a reputation amongst the customers so they stick to you. Can you talk more about how you build a reputation amongst the other stakeholders that you partner with, and how do you balance the risks involved? Thank you.
Sure, you're right. Because we have so many products, every BU has its own partner. Hotel has hotel partners, airline partners, rental car partners, attraction partners, theme park partners, etc., etc. Quite big partnerships. So what we think about what we can do for our partner, what we can do is bring affluent travelers to use their product, which they have no access and they have no visibility for. So that's our value. So our BD team is in each country, making sure that they understand what we can do for the partners. And we also help different countries, different cities to do promotion for destination marketing. And we have different workshops for our partners to understand what's the trend. For example, when Chinese New Year comes, we have our lunar calendar for our partner. We help our hotel partners to develop a welcome Chinese program. So in their rooms, they have hot teapot, they have green tea, they have slippers. In the lobby, they have 1 or 2 Chinese speaking staffs. In their call center, they have 1 or 2 Chinese people in case they need language support. For the breakfast, they add 1 or 2 dishes, which is suitable for Chinese users. And we also give them a lunar calendar year. Every month, there is a Chinese holiday. When our customer check in, they can write a card, for example, Happy Dragon Boat Festival, Happy Chinese New Year. During the Chinese New Year, they can give little golden coin chocolate for the kids in red envelope. Doesn't cost the hotel too much money, but to make that hotel stands out. And we ask our customers to write reviews and comments for these hotels. And because of these small initiatives, these hotels are very well liked by Chinese users. That's the value we can add to bridge our customers and our partners and make sure they like each other. And we add value in the process.
Thank you for that question. I think it's a really good one. We may get back to that issue, but I'd like to, Adria, if it's okay with you, I've been monitoring the chat and there's some really interesting questions from the global network. Is it okay if I just pose a couple questions?
Sure.
So Zhao Yingshu from Hitotsubashi thanks you, of course, and we all thank you. But she says there's a saying on Chinese social media called consumption downgrade. In other words, some consumers are deciding to cut their spend and save money. Has this impacted Trip.com, and what's your response?
Certain segments have some pressure. For example, real estate market have some pressure. But if young people are not buying real estate, they have more disposable income. So after COVID, if you ask people what's the number one thing they want to do, almost everyone will tell you travel is number one for them to do. Number two is wellness. Number three is events-driven activities. So travel still is very high in their priority in terms of spending.
Thank you. This is I think a broader question, but given what you've said about how Trip.com is investing and the advantages that you have, what does the future look like for traditional travel agencies? And this question comes from Melver Lobo.
Yeah, traditional travel agencies are our partners in a way. So we're very open. Our platform is open for anyone who wants to provide their service and product to our 400 million users. So traditional travel agencies can list their product onto our platform, and we will market their product to our customers.
Excellent. So I think in looking at these questions, and there are others, I have to say, I think Jane has answered a lot of them. So I'm not going to pose and get into repetition. But one of the things I like to do in situations like this is to ask individual students, what's their biggest takeaway? So I don't know, John, if you want to call on some students, I can do it from here. But this is a good discipline class. Just think about what did you learn? What's your biggest takeaway?
I think my biggest takeaway from this was really seeing the strategy of how you can focus on the different stakeholder groups, as well as investing in taking more risk with the company during periods of downturn to really be able to grow and solidify those relationships and benefit from them in the long run. And it has, of course, the happy outcome of being both financially beneficial as well as doing the right thing by your customers in a time that everyone's going through chaos, but also lending some stability where it's possible. So it's a good example of taking responsibility in a way that'll invest in your own future.
So one of my takeaways is that stakeholders really matter in sort of linear relationships. When you have a platform business, the creativity that you have in creating value and delivering value for all sorts of different partners, you can be a lot more creative with doing that. And it's really interesting how you've done that and how you continue to plan to do that.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, David, I think that's a good point. I mean, it's not linear. These multi-sided platforms, they bring in people from different directions. It's very dynamic. So that's a good observation. How about Megan? I remember you from last. This is a cold call.
No, first and foremost, thank you so much for being here today, Jane. I think just the most inspiring part of this entire discussion was how you continuously innovate to meet the needs of stakeholders. So even, talking about like delivering tickets like in hand and how, we've transformed your business to the point where like AI is now like supporting customers. I think that was one of my main takeaways. I also just want to thank you as well. I find your career trajectory extremely inspiring in terms of being kind of a trailblazer, in terms of, women's representation in business leadership. I mean, even when I look in this classroom, I think there's only 3 other females in this class. So still a lot of work to do, and I appreciate all the work that you're doing in terms of your advocacy as well.
Thank you.
Thank you, Megan. I'll use that to see if technologically I can call on some people from the global network. Adria, could you unmute Lisa Baronet, who has her camera on? And I noticed that she was nodding at various points in time during your interview and discussion. Lisa, do you have a takeaway?
Hi, yeah, of course. Well, again, Jane, thank you so much for being here and your time. Megan, I echo a lot of the points that you just made. It's great to see everything that you've done with your career. I think one of the things that you really kept honing in on the importance of that stood out to me was just focusing on the customers first, foremost and always, and how really by treating the customers first every single time, that will impact the stakeholders and the rest of the shareholders in the long run. And everyone will truly benefit from that, even if in the moment, maybe financially it doesn't seem like the greatest move. When you said during COVID, you had to borrow a bunch of money to refund customers that were impacted, that goes such a long way in the long run in developing that customer loyalty and bringing that back around full circle and seeing the beneficial impact that it has on the business.
Thank you, Lisa. And Tanya, you're next. But Lisa, could you identify where you are right now and what school you're affiliated with?
Yes, absolutely. I am at UBC in Vancouver, Canada.
The Souder School.
Yes, that's right.
And what program are you in?
I'm doing my professional MBA. I'm finishing in a month.
Well, congratulations. That's wonderful.
Thank you.
How about Tanya?
Thank you. Yeah, I'm Jami. Thank you so much, Professor. First of all, thank you, Jane, so much for your time today. Shout out to some of my Oxford GNAM classmates that I saw out there also contributing. I think again, agree very much with what Megan and Lisa said, that I think that it's amazing to see a woman at the helm of such an important large company. I think probably one of my biggest takeaways is to use trip.com more often. Yeah, and I guess, again, just seeing how much you're doing just in innovation internally with your company and, I mean, externally growing in such a difficult, I think, market right now, with so many people perhaps opting to plan their own trips and not use a one-stop shop so much. To see that you manage to keep it kind of like at the forefront of the market is very inspiring.
Thank you, Tanya. And you're at Oxford Said? What school?
Hi, sorry. I'm at EGADE Business School in Mexico City.
Oh, EGADE. Oh, wonderful. Yes. Okay.
Thank you.
It's great to have you join. And what program are you in?
I'm doing an MBA. I actually just finished up.
Congratulations. That's great.
Thank you.
So, Jane, I have one last question for you.
Sure.
And it more goes to the mission of trip.com. And it's pretty clear that your values and behaviors are well aligned. But is there a mission that you talk about that helps align everyone all the stakeholders, all the employees, all the partners, customers?
Yes. Right now, I think we have faced lots of challenges, global politics. So I want our young employees to see through their routine jobs. I have traveled so many countries, and I talked to many mothers, many travelers around the world. Although we have different background, different religions, different languages, but when we talk with the mothers around the world, our interest, our focus is very similar. We want our young children to have good education, for young people like you to have good career paths, for our families to have peaceful and prosperous lives. Very simple, but very similar. So I wanted our employees to see that through their hard work, we are committed to a shared mission, which is while we are sending people far away, we are bringing the world closer. Particularly during this challenging environment, travel can play a very important role to bring people together and promote global peace and prosperity.
Thank you, Jane. Travel is really important, and it's something that I know you value personally, but the way you express it, I'm sure that motivates all of your stakeholders. John, would you like to end this session?
Hello, Jane. Thank you again for joining us. And as you can tell, I think from the questions, both from the classroom here at Yale and also our colleagues joining us from the network, and also the takeaways, which I particularly appreciated. The value provided here was greatly appreciated and contributed quite a bit to our learning. So thank you very much.
Thank you, John.
Thank you, Jane. I look forward to seeing you.